What if I told you the word music never clearly appears in the Qur'an, yet some people will still swear every sound in your headphones is a major sin? And what if I also told you that in authentic hadith, the Prophet, peace be upon him, actually allowed singing with a drum in his own house? If you are a Muslim who loves music but keeps seeing clips saying music is totally haram, totally halal, or everything in between, this is for you. We are going to walk through what the Quran really says, what the hadith actually show, what big scholars have said for centuries, and then I'll give you 3 simple questions you can use to judge any song you listen to. No sugar coating, no shouting, just clear talk. Imagine this: you finish a long day, you grab your phone, put on your headphones, hit play. For a few minutes, the world is gone. Then you open TikTok and a brother with a long beard is yelling that every kind of music sends you to hellfire. Swipe again and another guy with a turban is smiling, saying music is fine as long as your heart is clean. You lock your phone and suddenly your playlist feels like a ticking bomb in your pocket. Who is right? Are all your songs a sin, or have you been scared for nothing? To answer that, we need to look at 3 things. First, what the Quran actually says. Second, what the authentic hadith say. Third, how real scholars connected all of this into actual rules. Then at the end, I'll flip the question and make it personal. Not just, is music haram, but is your music helping you or destroying you? Let's start with the Quran. Here's something a lot of people do not know. There is no verse in the Quran that clearly says in direct words, music is haram. The verses people quote are more indirect. One famous verse is in Surah Luqman, verse 6. Allah talks about people who buy idle talk to mislead others from the path of Allah. Many early companions of the Prophet, like Ibn Masud, said this verse includes singing and things that distract the heart. Some even swore that it meant music. Other scholars said no, it is more wide. It means any useless speech, stories, jokes, or sounds that pull you away from remembering Allah, not only music. Another verse is in Surah Isra, verse 64, where Allah tells Shaitan, use your voice to gather them. Some scholars said that includes songs and musical sounds that are used to push sin. Others said it means any way Shaitan calls people, with words, whispers, or anything else. Notice something important here. All these verses talk about distraction from Allah, about pulling people into sin, about fake or useless talk. None of them say that every sound with a tune is forbidden. So how did many scholars still say music is haram? They linked these verses with the hadith. Now the hadith are where things get serious. There is a hadith in Sahih Bukhari where the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that there will be people from his nation who make zina, silk, alcohol, and musical instruments halal for themselves. The Arabic word there is mazif, which means musical instruments. Many scholars took this hadith and said, there you go, musical instruments are forbidden, just like alcohol and zina are forbidden. Other scholars pointed out that this hadith has a small issue in its chain of narrators. Because of that, they argued it is not strong enough to ban every type of instrument forever. One famous scholar who said this was Ibn Hazm from Andalus. Then we have other hadith that seem to allow some types of music. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, tells us that on Eid there were 2 young girls in her house singing with a drum. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu walked in and got upset. He called it the flute of Shaitan. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, stopped him and said, leave them, it is Eid. In another narration, there was a wedding from the Ansar. The Prophet asked, did you send a girl to sing? Because the Ansar like singing. He wanted the wedding to be known and joyful. So in one set of hadith, we see a warning about instruments. In another set, we see clear permission for singing and a drum during special times like Eid and weddings. You can see why Muslims today are confused. So how did the scholars deal with all this? Here is the simple version. Most classical scholars from the 4 main schools said something like this: the human voice, reciting poetry or nasheeds with good words, is allowed. The simple hand drum, called a daff, is allowed in times of joy like Eid, weddings, or when people need their spirits lifted in a halal way. As for other instruments like strings, flutes, and so on, many of them said these are not allowed. They used the Bukhari hadith, and they also looked at what usually comes with music: free mixing, alcohol, parties, lust, and people skipping prayers. Other scholars, both in the past and in our time, took a softer view. They said music itself is not the main problem. The real problem is the content of the song and the effect it has on you. If the lyrics are filthy, if they push you towards zina, drugs, arrogance, or make fun of religion, then yes, that is haram. But if the words are clean or even good and the music does not push you to sin or make you leave your duties, then it can be allowed. Scholars like Yusuf al-Qaradawi and some teachers from Al-Azhar took this kind of view. They still warned strongly against love songs that push haram relationships, songs that praise crime, or songs that turn disobedience into something cool. So where does this leave you, sitting with your phone full of playlists? Here is the real challenge. Most people asking, is music haram, are not actually asking about one calm song with clean words. They are asking, can I keep listening to songs about sex, heartbreak, one-night stands, flexing money, drinking, and drugs, but still feel fine because a scholar somewhere allowed instruments? You can see the problem now. So instead of only asking, is music haram or halal, ask these 3 questions about any song you listen to. First question, what are the words saying? Be honest with yourself. Would you be okay playing that song out loud in front of your parents or in the masjid or in front of the Prophet if he was in your room? If the words are dirty, bragging about sin, insulting women, or laughing at religion, that is not a gray area. That is haram, even if there was no instrument at all. Second question, what does this song do to your heart? After you listen, do you feel softer, calmer, more able to pray? Or do you feel empty, jealous, or full of desire? Does it make you miss old haram relationships? Does it make you want to scroll certain pages or go to certain places where you always fall into sin? Third question, what is this doing to your time and your mind? Can you put your phone down and sit in silence with Allah for 10 minutes, or does your brain panic without background sound? Do you have hours for music every day but somehow never have 5 minutes for Qur'an? Because here is the key point of the whole video, Allah did not make rules to kill your fun. He made rules to protect your heart. If music is taking over your mind, pulling you away from prayer, making sin look sweet, then you do not even need a fatwa. Deep down, you already know it is a danger. So what can you actually do? If you want to be extra safe, you can follow the strict view. Avoid instruments, fill your life with Qur'an, lectures, and simple nasheeds with a drum. Millions of Muslims live like this and feel real peace. If you follow a trusted scholar who allows music with conditions, then at least set clear red lines. Cut out songs with obvious haram content. Limit how much you listen. Do not let music be the first thing you hear in the morning and the last thing at night. Do not let it push Qur'an out of your day. And no matter which view you follow, do not use it to attack others. Allah will not ask you how many people you dragged in the comments. He will ask what you did with the knowledge you had and how honest you were with yourself. So, is music really haram in Islam? From the Qur'an and hadith, we can say this much clearly. Anything that calls to sin, fills your heart with desire, or makes you forget Allah is haram. Simple sounds and beats with clean words, used in the right way and time, are an area where scholars have different views. That means you need knowledge, taqwa, and a clean heart when you decide. Ask Allah to guide you. Learn, speak to a local scholar you trust. And then look at what your music is doing to you when no one else can see. Tap the video on your screen now to learn the habits that quietly destroy your iman even more than music.